Hi, my name is Pastor Hal York, and welcome to Truth in the Trenches. Today we're going to be in Proverbs chapter 14, verse 7. Leave the presence of a fool, or you will not discern words of knowledge. The book of Proverbs is filled with warnings to and about the foolish person. Here the warning is about the impact that the foolish person can have on a person's life. And there are many applications or illustrations we could think about. Zig Ziglar said, choose your friends carefully because it is from your friends you receive the messages of life. And this principle certainly applies to this verse. But picture this scenario with me. It's being repeated all over the North America this time of year. Kids go off to college. Many for the first time. It's an exciting time for them. First time living away from their parents for many of them. And the concern for most parents is that their child may fall into the wrong crowd and tempt them into activities that may be harmful to them, or alcohol and drugs and so on. And that certainly is true and certainly should be a concern and certainly does happen sometimes. But there's something else less obvious but equally harmful that can happen. Let's say they arrive at college. It's a new high school or a new church even. Or maybe they've joined a new team and they got a new coach. And they're swept up in the newness of it all. They're optimistic about the upcoming year, excited about the school and their teachers. And then they meet Joe or Jane Sinek. They are in their second year or third year, or maybe their first year, but these Joe and Jane, they've heard things, and they think they know things. And everything out of their mouth is negative about the school, the teachers, and the rules, because probably Joe or Jane Sinek didn't want to be there in the first place. And before the month is over, maybe even before they get to the first class, this young student who's come, his attitude has changed. They've lost their excitement. They've been infected with the cynicism of a fool, and now the messages they've received and continue to receive are clouding their joy and their zeal. They drift into sadness and discouragement, to maybe lose their way, maybe questioning if they should have even come to this school or chosen that major. Their plans and desires to learn have been dampened or derailed by the negativity of those around them. And all they can think about are all the things that are wrong with the school or the church or this new club. Joe and Jane Sinek are people we need to avoid. Why? Because cynics may be right. There are no perfect schools or churches or clubs or teachers or coaches, and so there's always going to be room for the cynic to be cynical. There never are going to be any perfect things this side of heaven, this side of glory. But these kinds of people never build others up. They seldom, if ever, have anything positive to say about anything or anyone because they are in the know. And so Proverbs says, leave the presence of such a person. Leave the presence of a fool. And secondly, seek to avoid becoming this kind of person in our own life. But we need to leave this person because they hinder our understanding. They deaden our discernment. We came with a clear head, an open mind, clear direction, and now you don't know what you want to do. Should I even be here? This poor student is not given into the temptation of drugs or alcohol, but they have been poisoned and are infected by the negativity of cynicism of friends or those they hang around with. And verse 8 adds to this. He says, the wisdom of the sensible is to understand his way, but the foolishness of fools is deceit. And so Solomon is warning his son, be careful who you listen to. Be careful who you hang around. What is it turning you into? Is it helping you discern the words of knowledge, or poisoning your mind with worthless cynicism and turning you into the same kind of person this other person is? We need to learn how to think critically, obviously, make distinctions and be discerning. But that is different than becoming a cynic. A cynic is someone who is settled in that frame of mind. They've stopped thinking they're just negative about everything. They're never positive. They're never thankful. If you are a parent, warn your kids about such people. If you're a student, high school, college, beware of such people. Leave the presence of such people because they will only bring you harm and not joy into your life. They will never build you up. They will simply just seek to tear you down. They will lead you away from a healthy mindset, a God-honoring mindset. There's always going to be problems no matter where we go, what we do. There's going to be things that aren't right and perfect. And it doesn't take a genius to point them out. But we need to be people that do not dwell on the negative, that we allow these people to derail us from what we want to do and what we felt led to do, what God has led us to do. Don't underestimate the powerful influences such people will have over your life. There is a reason Solomon says to his son, leave the presence of a fool. Paul says in 1 Corinthians 15:33, do not be deceived. Bad company corrupts good morals. Obviously, much more could be said, but this is a good reminder, I think, for the day. What are the messages you are receiving in your life from others, from those you're hanging around? How is it impacting your life? But may I also ask, and I ask myself this, what are the messages we are sending out? Are they always negative? Are we ever thankful? Are we ever positive about anything in our life? Or is it just negative, negative, negative? What are the messages we are sending out? If our child was heading off to college, would they be happy that they met us because of the messages they're going to hear from us? Or will they hopefully, once they meet us, that they will say, no, you better leave that person because they're not going to lead you in a very good place? What are the messages we are receiving? What are the messages we are sending out? Bad company corrupts good morals, so leave the presence of a fool, or you will not discern words of knowledge. May this truth guide us and guard us in the trenches of life as we seek to live our lives for the glory of God and the good of others. May God bless.